Arbor Downtown Development Authority's informational meeting, Wednesday, June 1st at noon. I'm going to turn it over to our Executive Director, Jeff Watson. Jeff, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm Jeff Watson, the Executive Director of the Ann Arbor Downtown Development Authority. And I'm pleased to share with you today information about the activities of the DDA, including recent accomplishments, as well as projects and other efforts going forward. The DDA focuses on two primary systems, parking and downtown development, better known as the TIF or tax increment financing system. Our efforts for both systems are targeted to ensure resiliency and sustainability of the assets we look after and develop to enhance downtown Ann Arbor. The DDA has an agreement with the City of Ann Arbor to manage the city's parking assets in the downtown area, serving as the asset manager for parking and acting as steward of the system. We manage it in an economically sustainable way, maintaining the functionality of the system and ensuring its long-term viability. This graphic takes a quick look at a 2-year parking fees by month compared to budget through the end of April. The solid line, what happened there?
Power flickers.
Yeah, we lost it again. To save time, so you can keep going. I have hard copies
Okay.
for everybody.
Of course she does.
Does that happen a lot when you guys
Digital
over
to
here?
analog.
Yeah.
Just because of the storm right now.
Yeah, there's a
We have a
little,
pretty big cell coming through.
Oh, really? Huh.
because it got very dark.
Acting up, so just in case. I printed copy.
Thank you so
Don't
much.
tell anyone that we're using.
If you run light for the folks, Kelly can have mine. I'll move on with mine.
If you want to go ahead, Jeff, and then I'll try to bring it back up
You
for you.
bet. Okay.
So when?
So we're on page 4 of the presentation. The graphic provides a 2-year look at parking fees. The solid line represents the fiscal year 2021 budget, which was prepared prior to the pandemic hitting in mid-March 2020, and it called for $25 million in revenues. The gray bars are fiscal year 21 actual activity. This came in at approximately 50% of the total budget. The dash line is the fiscal year 2022 budget, which anticipates about a 15% recovery of revenues over FY21, which was about $20.7 million. Actual activity at the end of March was about $14.85 million, which is up almost $3 million from a year ago and about 23% over the year-to-date budget. Though the numbers show improvement, keep in mind we are still down quite a bit from the pre-pandemic revenue. These revenue reductions led to the need for making short-term choices about facility maintenance and capital expenditures, which meant delaying some of the necessary expenditures through not foregoing critical maintenance improvements. The approach has been a conservative one, focused on immediate needs such as safety, meeting financial obligations and repairs necessary to avoid greater costs in the future. Expenditures have been prioritized to meet the obligations for the system, including things such as debt obligation, the city's 20% critical repairs, and maintaining city assets. Other efforts that are underway that support the parking system include annual restoration and maintenance, such as concrete and brick repairs, as well as joint sealants, as well as a variety of other needs. Other efforts that are underway, the parking operator transition. On July 1st, PCI will take over as the parking operator for our public parking systems. And we've been working with the PCI manager over the past few months to ensure a smooth transition. We've got a curb management study going, looking at how curb space is used throughout downtown, given the changing nature of how people and goods get to and from downtown is evolving quickly, and we need to prepare a toolkit to manage the curb space as the important public asset that it is. Additionally, the installation of 80 electric vehicle charging stations in a joint project with the city is, I think, nearly complete, and has enhanced the capability with regard to electric vehicle charging stations throughout the parking system. The second of the two systems are the downtown development based on tax increment financing program. The DDA is a strong partner with the city in designing building improvements in the downtown that enhance the viability and functionality of the area for all residents and visitors. We use TIF revenue in support of projects that promote community alignment via public engagement and policies targeted to sustainability, resilience, and economic equity. One of the ways this has taken place is via the People-Friendly Streets Initiative, which includes several projects either complete, underway, or planned that are focused on creating streets that are safe and comfortable for all users and all abilities. People-Friendly Streets Initiative reflects the city's commitment to community, responsive design, sustainability, and resilience. The initiative is built upon shared values as guiding principles for what is to be achieved. These shared values were adopted by the board in July 2020 and form the foundation for designing and implementing the program. They include safe, comfortable downtown streets, equitable just access for all people, and a resilient, energy responsible downtown. As noted, the People-Friendly Streets Initiative has been underway for several years. Recent examples include the Division Street Bikeway, which was officially open for business in January. This two-way protected bike lane stretches from Packard to Catherine and serves as a north-south connection to the William Street Bikeway. Additionally, enhancements to the William Street Bikeway were completed last January. This work included curb islands that replaced the delineators between Thompson and Ashley Street. East of Thompson, the planters were placed with removable curbs to allow for flexibility to accommodate the Ann Arbor Art Fair. Additional improvements include a raised bus stop, curb adjustments at the intersection of 5th, and additional pavement markings to highlight the stop bar on eastbound Williams at 5th. A project that is getting started this summer is the State Street project. It includes work from Williams to Washington. There'll be work on pedestrian crosswalks, a new sidewalk and streetscape design that will be gutterless, as well as water main and street surfacing infrastructure work. Also, we're working in collaboration with the Ann Arbor Housing Commission on Miller Catherine improvements. The project will provide infrastructure improvements for downtown and importantly supports the Ann Arbor Housing Commission project at 121 Catherine. Also coming up in probably 2024 is the 4th Street and transit improvements. That includes upgrades to utilities in support of another affordable housing project, expanding transit service along 4th, raised sidewalks, and improved transit center operations. In addition to projects like the foregoing examples, an important aspect of the DDA's public commitment is the stability and growth of downtown and our support for overlapping community efforts such as the city's A2 Zero Carbon Action Plan, the Transportation Master Plan, and the Vision Zero Initiative. In addition to capital projects, parking funding and downtown development funding provide critical support for other initiatives that include Go Pass, Get Downtown, bike parking and meter bags, as well as funding and support for the city's Justice Center, a new program that will provide irrigation in areas of downtown for planting, as well as the city's Affordable Housing Fund. Other items of note, new executive director at the DDA, partnerships that we have built and maintained, including City Public Works and Planning, the University of Michigan, the Housing Commission, the State Street, Main Street, and Carytown districts, and many others that make downtown Ann Arbor the special place that it is. Also important is just a note about the Bike-a-Palooza event that took place about 10 days ago. I want to make a note of Maura Thompson's leadership on that project and the great work by the staff and our partners, including the Ann Arbor Library District, the Washtenaw Biking and Walking Coalition, and the City of Ann Arbor Office of Sustainability and Innovation for a project that celebrated the progress being made on the protected bikeway network in downtown Ann Arbor. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I believe that concludes the Ann Arbor Downtown Development Authority's informational meeting, so we can adjourn it. Adjourn. Now, Ann Arbor Downtown Development Authority meeting Wednesday, June 1st recommences. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. Mr. Watson, can you please perform a roll call?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Micah Bartelme. Here. Alexandra Deek.
Here.
Milt Mahoney.
Here.
Shihei Kim.
Here.
Tyler Kinley.
Present.
Maria Klump.
Present.
Jessica Letaw.
Here, thank you.
Jonathan Massey.
Present.
And Darren McKinnon.
Present.
I believe we have a quorum. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve the board meeting agenda?
This is Jessica, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of approval of the board meeting agenda, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion's approved. Moving ahead to public comment. I believe we have 3 people signed up for public comment. First up, Ms. Jacqueline Walker. You've got 4 minutes. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Okay, I just moved in at 100 South 4th Street here, and we have no parking. I got automobiles, but I can't park. And they say they have a $30 a month thing for people that work. I'm 71 years old. I'm not gonna be running out back and forth trying to move a car from between 9 and 3 in the morning, you know, that's not happening. So I'm not asking for you to give me anything, but if you can, I'm on a fixed income, and if you can make it like $50 a month, that's a sustain us. I can leave it, I won't have to be moving it and running back and forth, and I can do that. You know, that's all I'm asking, you know. It's not a big thing to a lot of people, but it means a lot to me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Alan Haber. Welcome.
Welcome. Nice to be here again, or I think it is. I wish it were, but I come with my same message and I think complaint. This will be the 46th monthly meeting since the citizens of Ann Arbor voted that the center of the city land should be developed as a central park and civic center commons. A commons being commonly pooled resources, self-managed by the users. And this question has not, this center of the city, you know, that's the library lot, Liberty Plaza, Kemp House, Library Lane, publicly owned land on that block. In the center of your responsibility, and not once have you put that on your agenda, even to consider, what is a commons? You know what is a commons? I didn't bring my leaflet, I'm sorry. This is a great opportunity to revitalize not only the center of the city, but the entire city. Everywhere, people know that when there is a vibrant central place, it activates the economy all around. The Center of the City Task Force said, get the cars off the parking lot. The city council said, get the cars off the parking lot. The people said, get the cars off the parking lot. That you have not respected that at all is basically a disrespect for democracy, for the people of Ann Arbor, and for the many people over these 46 months who have been working to make real the vision of a Central Park and Civic Center Commons, where the users self-manage what are commonly pooled resources. I've pointed out before, the Nobel Prize in Economics was given to a woman who demonstrated all over the world that commons managed by the users are better managed, more productive than either by the government or by some corporation. You are ignoring science and you're ignoring democracy. The City Council also said that the revenue since November 6, 2018 should be from the service parking lot should be devoted to the development of the Central Park and Civic Center Commons. According to the calculations of that time, needing some modification, that would amount to about $975,000 that should be sequestered for the development of the center of the city. That hasn't been on your attention or agenda either. The current contract that you seem to have made with the new parking development maintains the same surface parking contrary to the city charter. This is an illegal contract. You should not have signed it. It should not be in effect. The center of the city parking lot is not a parking lot, it is the development for a park. How is it that you could have approved, if you have, a contract to continue the surface parking when the city charter is so clear, don't do it? We were told before, well, we have a contract, so we can't really get the cars off. We have to do it item by item. Okay, that contract is gone, but now you make a new contract in direct violation of the city charter. How could you do that? How, as city administrator, could you allow that to pass through without raising at least a legal question? Is that not in violation of the city charter that says this land should be developed not as a parking lot, but as a park and as a civic center, as a commons? And there are so many people who've been working to make this a beautiful place. We greatly appreciate the cooperation from staff in helping develop the garden.
Alan, we've got the 4 minutes, so we appreciate you.
Oh,
Thank
have
you
I
very
done
much.
my time?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's my message. I hope you will pay attention to it.
Thank
This
you
new
very much.
contract is not legal.
Next
And
up,
I
we have
some other
Rita
things,
Mitchell.
So I'm going to pass on. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Hello, board members. I'm Rita Mitchell. I'm a long-term resident of Ann Arbor. I'm a member of the Council of the Commons, on which Mr. Tahoney sits, and I'm sure that you all are aware, as Alan has just described, of the center of the city. It is a project that will benefit the city, and your assistance is needed right now. We are working on some very small improvements that will make it a hospitable place, a place for education relating to plants in the center of the city. There are some garden spots that have been adopted by the green team of the initiating committee of the center of the city. We are working very hard to establish beautiful places and to make them educational. Project Grow is a member of our group. Wild Ones, which maybe you don't know, but it is a well-known native plant organization, volunteer group, has offered to place some plants in this location. We will be providing educational opportunities to let people know about the resilience of native plants in that area and their benefit to people, pollinators, and other wildlife. We need water for those things to grow. We'll be planting on June 11th. If we don't have water, which has not been well established, we won't have plants. It'll die, it'll wither. And we have talked with Mr. Watson, and I appreciate meeting with you last week. So we're just looking for your help in adding to the contracts to make the improvements on the top of the library lot to add water that we can use. If you can make a very simple adjustment, we will do our best to manage manually. If you can make another adjustment that allows the established irrigation process to work, we would love that. But we do need water. And this isn't a new phrase, it's an old phrase. Water is life, and it'll be needed for the plants that we want to put there. That's just the start of where we want to go. And we will very much welcome your support for the Council of the Commons to move forward to establish a welcoming spot at that location, including Liberty Plaza, and making a bridge between the areas that we can all use as the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Moving forward, we have reports from city boards and commissions.
Peter Honeyman from the Citizens Advisory Council was unable to be here, and he asked me to read their minutes for the board. The Downtown Area Citizens Advisory Council, which works to advise the DDA and City Council about issues and opportunities that affect downtown livability, met over Zoom on May 31st, 2022. Participants enjoyed a report from one of the volunteers engaged in prettifying and putting to good purpose the cultivable spaces of the library lot. All applaud their dedication to community improvement. Discussion turned to the proposed two-story addition to the Pretzel Bell building, which some members think of as the Parthenon, while others still recall Cunningham's. There is a sense of muted approval of the three-story concept echoing the 1930s building, which, if done with appropriate regard and sensitivity to historic features, could be a great improvement over the existing one-story realization. CAC members will convey their thoughts directly to the Historic District Commission. CAC continues firming up its relationship with downtown merchants associations, finding common ground in addressing the multi-dimensional problem of downtown waste collection. The potential for civic improvement is appealing, a downtown that can be cleaner, more attractive, and smell better. CAC members are making plans to approach Mr. Mahoney for a conversation about downtown solid waste and how CAC can advise the city and contribute to solutions to downtown solid waste problems.
Wonderful. Thank you. We miss Mr. Honeyman, but appreciate writing from him. Next up, DDA members communications. Do we have any members communications?
I do. So as many of you, maybe most of you know, I've started a new firm, real estate and construction consulting, and one of my clients is Ann Arbor Housing Commission, a group that I've supported for a long time, sitting on its board. The DDA continues to support the Housing Commission. That poses a potential conflict of interest, so I wanted to make a statement here at the public meeting so that everyone's aware. And I'll continue to support their mission, and we have business at this table that involves them. I will have to recuse myself from the discussion and voting.
Great. All right. Well, we appreciate letting us know. Always good to keep everything above board. Thanks, Darren. Do we have any other members communications?
I'll say one thing.
Yes.
I'd like to echo the earlier comment, lauding Maura in particular and DDA staff in general for Bike-a-Palooza. It was so fun, and even the hot weather kind of contributed to it. It was great to have all the family-friendly activities there, so many puppies, and it was just really fun to have a bike-centered event. So thank you for all of the work that you put in. It being fun and kind of flawless is a testament to all of the preparation.
Great. Thanks, Jess. Any further members communications? Seeing none, move forward to the executive director report.
There's nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Okay, nice and quick. Moving ahead, do I have a motion to approve the May minutes?
So moved, Tyler.
Have a second? Second. Wonderful. Discussion. Seeing none, I have a motion. All those in favor of approving the May minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Motion is approved. Subcommittee reports. First up, my own committee, the Operations Committee. Share that with Mr. Massey. Jonathan, do you want to?
Sure.
Do that?
It's Dr. Massey.
Dr. Mattson. Well corrected, well corrected.
I'll also answer to your excellence.
Wonderful. Well, Your Excellence, take it away.
So reporting on behalf of the Operations Committee, our first order of business is to bring to the board a resolution. A resolution to authorize payment of the annual performance-based incentive fee for Republic parking for the contract year 2021-22.
Can I get a second? Or do you have to support?
So, correct, so,
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're moving.
you're moving, you have a second. Discussion.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Marty. So a little bit of context to this, as you may know, the Republic is paid in two parts, $125,000 paid on a monthly basis, and then up to $50,000 annually based on DDA review of the company's performance. And the Operations Committee, Subcommittee discussed the context, in the context of the end of Republic's contract, whether this was a time to approach that annual performance-based payment in a different manner. And we discussed it with Jada, who provided a memo included in our packet. We discussed the amount of the fee, the timing of the release of payment in context of hoping that Republic would complete its follow-on duties as it exits its relationship with us. And we ended up, after all that discussion, making one minor change, which was to add language to the resolved clause that gives Jada the authority, some latitude in determining when to release the payment, so that it can give a little bit of leverage in case there are challenges with executing final payments or other end-of-contract activities. But we do recommend that the DDA board authorize payment of the full performance-based incentive fee to RPS.
Committee had a good, robust discussion, debating sort of the merits of different strategies here. This is the one we came to. Anybody have any questions?
I'm curious, and it may be early to ask this, but if this practice is going to carry forward into our next contract?
The next one, Jada can explain it. There's some changes.
Okay.
Yes, there will be changes going forward. Same model where they have a base fee and then an incentive fee. But we've known for the last couple of years that the contract that we're working under right now is a little clunky and it doesn't really get to what we wanted to get to as far as incentivizing. So in the new contract, it lays out a system where I meet with the operator ahead of the contract year. We kind of talk about what special projects we'd like them to undertake in that year. We kind of identify some key metrics and establish it. But we have a wider range of what we can look at, including things like special projects or initiatives. So it'll be, I think, a more robust way to review them and give us some more data points. Our current contract is just outdated in the items that it measures.
It's really helpful, thank you.
Any further discussion, questions? I believe so. So we have a resolution to authorize payment of the annual base incentive fee for Republic parking contract year 21-22. It's actually pages 14-16, I believe, in your packet. Without any further discussion, are we ready for a vote? Wonderful. All those in favor of the resolution to authorize payment of the annual performance-based incentive fee for Republic parking contract year 21-22, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. It's approved. Please proceed, Your Excellency.
Thank you. So Jeff touched on some of these other topics in his initial report, but you'll find in the packet the parking revenue report as of April 30th. And Sarah is available to answer any questions if folks have it. And I'll just run through. You heard about the electric vehicle charging stations installation. And there's a collaboration between the DDA and the City Office of Sustainability and Innovation on rate setting and enforcement process. The curb management study, as Jeff mentioned, is underway, and we'll hear a presentation in July. at the July meeting on the overall plan for the study. And then we deferred on fiscal year 23 structure restoration. We deferred 1.4 million in projects that were in the capital improvement plan. An RFP has been released and a pre-meeting has been held. And in June, we will receive a resolution recommending selection of a contractor for structure restoration. And that's it.
That's it. Next operations committee meeting will be Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022. A lot of twos in there at 11 a.m. Moving ahead to the capital improvements committee. Alex.
Thanks, Tyler. Just some updates. Capital Improvements Committee did not meet in the month of May. And so just moving through this, we've got punch list items on First Ashley Division in William. The material supply chain is affecting our ability to apply permanent pavement markings on Division Street. But other punch list work will continue as the supply and weather allows. For State Street, street closure is scheduled for tomorrow, June 2nd, between Liberty and William Streets. Businesses have been notified of the upcoming work. Per the contractor, materials for the water main have been secured, and DTE anticipates starting a gas main relocation north of our work area and completing the work in about 2 weeks. And please note that the next CIC meeting is being held 1 week earlier than usual, and that's June 8th at 11 a.m.
Great. That's a DDA. Excuse me. That's DDA. Thanks, Alex. Moving ahead to the AHEAD committee, the Affordable Housing
Can
Committee.
I make a
Yes, please.
comment about what you said?
Sure.
Just to point out that within the industry and certainly within the city government realm, any construction contracts that are being done now, organizations are finding that their prior cost estimates are not realistic at all. The prices are coming in extremely high, which is impacting outside organizations and the cities having to review what we can actually get done. So as a DDA contemplates letting future contracts, price point issues, as long as the supply chain issues and fuel costs and everything else, steel being what it is probably going to have an impact on us at some point, so we should be mindful of that.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that at CIC. It's been on, I think, Amber's mind for months, if not even the last year and a half. And so I know we've built that into budgets and how we're thinking about the, the budgets that we're approving now, and then in relation to Miller and Catherine moving forward. So noted, and thank you.
On that note, for some of the contracts that we are getting, are prices locked in or in the city as well? Are you finding that some of those contracted prices are ballooning because of material costs?
We are having to review if we can actually execute on the full scope of what we originally thought. And if we decide to bite the bullet and go ahead, I guess the position I'm taking it is it may impact some future projects that we said we would do, we may not be able to, or they may need to be deferred. Because as of right now, there's sort of no end in sight. The inflation's continuing to go up, the construction estimates, and the other thing that we're seeing is that a number of companies are having labor shortages just like we are, and so the ability to actually execute should the contract be awarded is also something that we're monitoring. So, not a good time, but hopefully it'll get better.
Comments, any further discussion? Wonderful, thanks, Mel. The Affordable Housing and Economic Development Committee. Jay Kim, Jess Lee Top.
All right, so I'll report out. This was our partner meeting. So the Housing Commission was there talking about Miller Catherine project. The design calls for a mix of affordable housing, permanent supportive housing, and artist units, all deeply affordable. The first floor will include resident services and either cultural art space or small business development. The community engagement for that is going to begin this month, actually. And Jennifer Hall, the director of the Housing Commission, thanked the DDA for its support, thanked the DDA for its support of the infrastructure upgrade for this project. We are widening the water main. I know we're expanding the bike lane facilities over there and probably sidewalk improvements as well, is my guess. At 350 South 5th, that's been rezoned as a PUD, a planned unit development, and supplemental requirements were approved in March for that site, and the Housing Commission hopes to release their RFQ this month. For 415 West Washington, the current proposed site plan calls for a structure elevated above the floodplain. The floodway area on the site is not buildable and would be utilized as a green trail, which is appropriate given its adjacency to the tree line. The soil borings show contamination, and the city is working with brownfield and environmental authorities. There is no viable use for the buildings on site, and demolition will be required. We did not talk about the chimney swifts in that meeting, but that obviously is a part of the conversation. Other sites that Jennifer mentioned, 353 South Main site will be included with the 350 South 5th RFQ. The 406 South Ashley site is pending, waiting for confirmation of the status of the lease with the U of M Dental Clinic, which expires in July 2024. 2000 South Industrial, the soil borings show contamination. Perhaps not surprising for a site on South Industrial. Proposed plan for the industrial site is to develop the Housing Commission office space and explore possibly adding city office and maintenance space on the site. 1510 Stadium, which is currently fire station number 2, has significant contamination and poor building infrastructure, which will require demolition of the building. And the city will potentially explore selling this location outright. And 721 North Main is still being explored for development options. That was the Housing Commission. AAATA, the RIDE, Director Matt Carpenter expressed appreciation for the collaborative and accommodating partnership with the Housing Commission, City, and DDA on the 350 South 5th Avenue project, as the AAATA will have some use of the site for bus access. They are, like many people, experiencing labor shortages, specifically in hiring drivers. The D2A2 service, the expedited bus service between downtown Ann Arbor and downtown Detroit, is expanding. There's a new millage proposal for the RIDE for 2.38 mills that will be on the August primary ballot. The millage will allow for addition of express IPSI to A2 service, expanded overnight service, expanded weekend runs, the addition of customer service staff at the Ypsilanti station, which is currently not staffed, and capital funding for future projects outlined in the AAATA's long-range plan. We were joined for the first time in a long time by a representative from Washtenaw Community College, Ms. Marilyn Kapp, who's the Director of College Partnerships and Success Initiatives at WCC. She was lovely and quite attentive and had no updates at this meeting. The Planning Commission notes that DTE has moved out of the Ashley Muse site on Main Street. Potential projects for that site include a hotel, Airbnb, and housing options. The Planning Commission is hoping that the first floor will be active. An 8 condo project on Miller was approved, and the TC1 or Transit Corridor District zoning ordinance is being refined with the goal of one size fits all. So for folks, reminder who may not know, transit-oriented zoning was approved by Planning Commission and the city recently as a zoning designation, but only applied to one area of the city. So there's a question about how that will get applied to other areas. The minimum lot size for R2, which is residential low density district, has been reduced from 8,500 square feet to 5,000 square feet. City Council reported out that they are considering the allocation, at that point, they were considering the allocations of the American Rescue Plan Act funds, which have since been allocated and voted on, and including discussing and presenting amendments at that meeting. And we, the DDA, reported out on all of the projects that you heard about at the informational meeting. Questions, comments from the partners meeting?
Wealth of information.
Oh, yeah, it's a big update.
It was. Lots of conversations. That was Eli's first meeting joining us as well, which was a delight to have him.
We got to see firsthand the weight and the load that Jennifer Hall is carrying.
Yeah, one whole page.
One whole page.
Right. Our next AHEAD committee meeting will be Wednesday, June 8th at 9 a.m. Again, that's preceding the CIC meeting, which is being moved up to 11 a.m. So you may be here for a double header if you're here for meetings that day.
Big day.
Thank you.
questions, comments? Okay,
Thank you,
moving-
Jess.
Yeah, thank you, Jess.
And GA.
Moving ahead, finance. Micah Barthelemy, Marie Clough, take it away.
Thanks, Tyler. The Finance Committee did not meet in May. However, we are meeting in June. We will be preparing 3 resolutions to bring to the board. The resolution to adopt the DDA FY23 budget, the resolution to adopt the amendment to the FY22 budget, and if we recall, that's for the increased costs of parking with our increased revenue, our revenue share and credit card fees, and the resolution to establish signatories. Committee will also consider a resolution to remove the 2016 restriction on a portion of the parking system fund balance for construction of additions to the public parking system or alternative transportation infrastructure. If you recall, we discussed this briefly at the last board meeting, so look out for those resolutions coming your way. The next Finance Committee meeting will be Wednesday, June 23rd at 9 a.m.
It's my urge to be Thursday.
Thursday, June 23rd at 9 a.m.
Thursday, June 23rd, 9 a.m. Quick correction. Thank you, Kelly. Last, the executive committee. We met today to discuss this agenda. We also had a proposal to adjust our meeting time. Our meetings have often started at 11, and they usually included a period of time after that where we would eat here. We have gotten rid of that in COVID times, so we're probably going to adjust our meeting time instead of 11 to 11:30. So we will plan on future meetings to begin the executive committee meeting at 11:30 a.m. rather than 11. If there happens to be something that would require a longer conversation, we will make that adjustment, but in the future, 11:30. We also discussed some of the business that the executive committee is and will be working on, including a lot of
Actually, before we move on, if that's okay.
Sure.
I just wanted to say a little bit about
Please.
the schedule change.
Sure.
So in general, if y'all will remember, the board approves the schedule annually towards the end of the year. Kelly does that awesome job preparing the master schedule, sends it to us, and then we approve that by the end of the year. So this will follow basically a similar process, which is just a verbal. If you have any concerns about the executive committee shifting from 11 to 11:30, please let Tyler, Kelly, whoever know. And we'll of course follow the proper procedure in terms of like public announcement and making sure that we're following good process in terms of making sure that the public knows. But I just kind of wanted to expand on that
Perfect,
process
yeah.
a little bit more.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Good detail.
Yep.
We also talked a bit about our work towards the executive director review process. GA, if you want to just give us a quick update there.
Yeah, we have a new executive director in Jeff, and we're in the process of rebuilding sort of a review and a check-in. We decided on 6-month and a 12-month point, and we are making good progress. We're soliciting what other city partners are doing, and we agreed on the timeline that the review will happen sometime mid-July.
Thank you very much. The next executive committee meeting will be Wednesday, June 29th at 11:30 a.m. Any questions? Otherwise, concerns? Moving ahead, new business. Do we have any new business to discuss? Yes.
This should be characterized more as informational, but since it wasn't agendized, I'll just throw it in here. As the downtown continues to see growth and development, one of the challenges that we will have from time to time is to ensure that all parties can coexist and function and thrive in the midst of the development. One example of that has to do with the Detroit Street filling station and the development going up adjacent to it. I was asked to consider helping with the construction coordination of the parties, which is a little bit not in the mainstream of what I would normally be doing, but you have to exert your effort where it's needed. So I will be convening the developer, the market, filling station on June the 9th to help facilitate discussion between all of them to make sure that the filling station can continue to thrive in the midst of the development, that we understand where staging areas are going to impact things going on around it. I don't have any preconceived outcome, but I think if I can play a role in helping the parties to talk a little more and make sure we ask the right questions and coordinate where we can and help build upon the relationship that they've already established, that's time well spent. And I'm willing to do that. So just for the good of the order, letting you know that that's going on, and hopefully we can help things get a little better.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other new business? Seeing none, moving ahead to public comment. Anyone who wishes to approach and make a statement, make a public comment, you will have 4 minutes. Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
This is Alan, so moved.
Second, Milton. All those in favor of adjourning this meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
There.